Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. I can't believe it, but I actually forgot about Hanging with Mangg. That would normally never ever happen, as my Sundays are completely free, and that's it. But yesterday, Sunday, was Easter, and so there was a lot going on. And earlier in the week, I was like, oh, I should probably do Hanging with Mangg on Saturday night. Just to get it done and not have to worry about it. But I didn't, and then I forgot completely on Sunday. And so here we are. Monday evening. Doing some Hanging with Mangg. But as long as we get it in, it's all good. We're playing Final Fantasy Tactics, of course. One of the best games ever made. This is the Valeria mod, though, which changes a lot of stats and things around. I don't know all the stuff it does, but it's pretty highly recommended. I've never tried it before, so I'm giving it a go. I think RetroArch is having some trouble with my shader setup and the internal resolution setup I have going on. Maybe I can fix it. Hold on. The internal resolution thing, it messes up with the menus as well, and I don't like that. No, that still does not sound good. Now the audio is... Okay, hold on. Don't worry, we'll get to talking about stuff. We'll get there. God, why is the audio terrible? Ugh. Okay, screw that. I'm gonna mute that. I'm just gonna put some YouTube. Well, I'll put the soundtrack on from YouTube. Hold on. That'll be better. Get that nice copyright claim going on. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Additionally, I have a fan running in the background pretty close to my head. According to my sensors in the audio setup, it shouldn't be audible, but somehow I don't really believe that my noise gate is that good. If you can hear it, that's pretty great. Right, anyways, moving on. So this week on this channel, we had Final Fantasy 15 and Sekiro. That is going to be the flavor du jour of this coming week as well. Nothing's changing. This is way late. I gotta just... This shader is... Fuck! Not even... not even a 2080 Ti can handle this sort of shit. Let me just... What's a basic bitch shader? I don't know. Yeah. That's basically it. Sekiro has... let's look. I'm sure you want an exact update. You care so much. You need an exact update on these numbers. Sekiro has 3 more videos. That is it. or more. They're all about an hour, though, so you'll get your Sekiro. So that'll probably finish this week, give or take. Final Fantasy 15 will not finish this week, though. That has... oh, boy. 9 more episodes. So that'll be a while. And then, of course, followed by 4 episodes of Final Fantasy 3. And then there will be a video where I rank all the Final Fantasies, which should be entertaining to some of you. And then... oh, and then Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Well, I guess I'll leave it up to anybody that cares to comment. We can either go into the rest of the Final Fantasy stuff I've recorded, Mystic Quest and the Tactics games, or we can switch it over to something different, such as Metroid, or the Ultima series, which would be pretty different. Either way, though, this week nothing crazy exciting is going to happen. Except for the ending of Sekiro, which is very exciting. Very exciting stuff. Additionally, there is a game coming out this Friday, exclusive to the PS4, I believe, called Days Gone. It's a zombie survival game, and there might be a Let's Play. I don't know. I don't really have any qualms about buying it. But doing an LP of it and sort of committing to it, that has to sort of depend on reviews, I think, and what people are saying. It depends, I guess, on how structured it is. If it's really just like open world, like if it's like State of Decay or something like that, I don't want to do an LP on it. But if it's more like The Last of Us, if it's more like The Last of Us than State of Decay, then I think we're probably good. But we'll see. I'm not committing to an LP on that game. It could be total garbage. But maybe. So that comes out Friday. So that'll be around the same time we finish Sekiro. So it'll line up. If Sekiro ends and I don't do that, well, then I think we're sliding into Metroid. I would say. That would be my guess. So Metroid... oh, I already did Metroid 1, right? Didn't I upload that randomly? So, Metroid 2 we could begin. I completely forgot I uploaded Metroid. Okay. So we could slide into Metroid 2. The Return of Samus. Because you have to let people know this is the sequel, see? You can't just put the 2 there and expect people to understand. Like, hey, this is a Return of Samus. Remember that character? John Wick 2, The Return of John Wick. So yeah, it'll either be Days Gone or Metroid 2. Which really could not be further apart in the video game spectrum, but we'll see. On the Exploring series, yeah, That nice little channel I have, that my side channel. Not this cool channel, the side channel I have going. I released a video on star signals. It underperformed. It's funny, last Hanging with Mangg, I talked about that ad. And I was like, no SCP video has a less than 100,000 views. None of them. And then, of course, the day after I say that, I have a video that underperforms. And really is like the worst performing SCP video I've put out. I really am not sure why. I don't know if it was just like one of those things where YouTube doesn't put it in people's subscription boxes, or people were just not interested at all in the topic. I have no idea. It was a strange underperforming one. And that's not a big deal. I mean, it's sitting at like 70-some thousand right now. So even an underperforming SCP video is better than any like 40K video. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's sitting on 78,000. Today's video, for comparison, Anderson Robotics is at 57,000. So not that far behind it. A week later. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm running a business and I'm gonna like, you know, sweat like, why didn't this video perform as well? We need to do research and we need answers, and you know, it's just okay, whatever. On to the next one. You know, if they all start underperforming, then I would start to take a closer look. But overall, you know, the channel seems to be continually increasing in popularity. I have no reason to believe that SCP is on the way out or anything like that. This video today, Anderson Robotics must have interested more people or whatever. So yeah, you know, the Anderson Robotics stuff. Oh, actually, the Star Signals video. I think I had a line in that video that was basically like, the Fifth Church is like a worldwide cult that uses, you know, celebrities and media and stuff to expand their influence. And I said, basically, an SCP version of Scientology. I'm paraphrasing maybe slightly, but it was basically something like that. I didn't think much of it, because that's what it was pretty much meant to be. You know, the person that wrote the Fifth Church originally and created it, they were definitely influenced heavily by Scientology when coming up with this stuff. I mean, obviously the Fifth Church is a little bit more anomalous than Scientology. But it served as sort of a basis of inspiration for how they operate and some of the weirdness and the cultness and blah, blah, blah. I didn't come up with this. You know, I am just a summarizer, you know. The author came up with this. And okay, whatever. I don't like Scientologists on the whole. But whatever. And so I got one comment, really. I got one person that was upset by this comparison. Just one. And actually, I kind of wonder if the fact that I included Scientology in the tags, maybe that hurt the video performance. Maybe YouTube's like, whoa, hold up. You talking Scientology? Get out of here. I kind of wonder. Maybe that was a mistake. You live and learn, I guess. But anyway, I got one person that was upset by this comparison, and they messaged me on Twitter. Actually, I should read you the message. Screw it. They're not watching. Hold on. I'm gonna read you the message. Okay. I won't say their name, but this is the message they sent me. Hi, I am a fan of your channel, and I just started listening to your most recent video, but I have to object your comparison of that silly church with Scientology. The fact that they use the word silly means they're probably pretty old. You can do whatever you want with your channel, but I think it would probably be in your best interest to actually know enough about a real-world religion to not make an ignorant or inaccurate comparison like that. You don't know what you're talking about, and it is grossly irresponsible to make statements like that. I enjoy your concert every week. Okay, they use the word concert, which means they're some sort of alien. And am a subscriber, but I don't really appreciate that because it's the sort of thing that makes me want to unsubscribe and withdraw support of your channel. Okay. Now, when you say support a channel, usually that means through, like, monetary means. I don't think this person is monetarily supporting my channel, but they're threatening to withdraw it. Whatever it is. Most people would probably not respond to this at all. But, you know, I try to be diplomatic on the internet. And especially on Twitter, I like to respond to pretty much everything because I don't really read any YouTube comments anymore, and I don't respond to almost any of them. So if they come to me on Twitter, I usually provide them with a response. So I thought I would be diplomatic. I said, sorry you feel that way, but the author did intend for it to be sort of a loose SCP analog of groups such as Scientology, at least as far as their public media presence is concerned. At the end of the day, it is just a science fiction story, and nor I'm sure the author intended to offend anyone. They responded, unfortunately, you made it sound like your opinions. Fiction or not, the information is just plain wrong. Okay, I mean, it's not the Fifth Church of Scientology. There's no information being presented about Scientology. It's a comparison. It's like a simile, really. And it has been my experience that the average person is not going to make the distinction. The average person does not like Scientology one bit, I think, but okay. In general, though, I do very much enjoy your content and look forward to hearing more. Thank you for taking the time to write back. I didn't respond after that. I figured, okay, we ended peacefully, that's all they get. So, I'm not, like, upset or anything, you know, I don't regret including my comparison or anything. I'm not like, you stupid Scientologist piece of shit, you know, or anything, like, whatever. You know, they have their perspective and things like that. They saw something they didn't like, and they tried to correct it. And I, as always, try to be as diplomatic as possible. I think that's just the safest thing to do when you're on the internet. You know, on the internet, I'm like Jackie Chan. I don't want no trouble, right? So, I think possibly, quite possibly, when I do the actual full video on the Fifth Church itself, chances are they will write back and then unsubscribe and then send me a death threat or something like that. But maybe when I do the Fifth Church video, I actually won't even mention Scientology, because really it's not... Or if I mention it, I will mention it as including the author's intentions rather than saying it... I mean, he is sort of right. It did probably come off as my opinion. And I don't care... I care about that insofar as to be, I want to be accurate. This is why I rarely like to include my opinions, because I want to be very careful to differentiate my opinions versus what is fact. Because if I can state something as fact, it's better. Because it can't be challenged as easily. I mean, it will be challenged, but not as easily. Damn it. So, probably when I do the Fifth Church video, I will say that the author intended this as sort of an analog or comparison or whatever of Scientology. And that covers my ass. You can't be angry at me for what some author wrote. I mean, you can be, you probably will be, but at that point, screw you. And Scientologists are kind of scary, if I can be honest. On this channel, I don't care what I say, but they're kind of scary. I mean, they've done some scary shit. So I didn't want to piss off some rogue Scientologists and have some Tom Cruise death squad come at my house or something, you know? It's just a little unsettling. So I was diplomatic, and I hope that's sort of the end of it. I just thought it was kind of interesting, and I wanted to share it. Anyways, the Anderson Robotics video I worked on, that one is pretty interesting because it's basically a Shadowrun corporation. It is a company that combines advanced technology with magic. Which, I mean, when you've got Shadowrun corporations that are run by dragons, so it's a perfect mixture. I'd be shocked if they weren't inspired by Shadowrun. And in fact, someone in my Discord, Floppy Phoenix, mentioned that the term sometimes used for that on SCP, rarely, but sometimes used, is Magitech, which is pretty funny. That's very Final Fantasy. So it overall seems very video gamey. I thought it was a pretty fun topic, and I basically just wanted to broach it so that in the future I can do a video about some of the really more in-depth stuff. There are some lengthier SCPs connected to that I didn't really cover at all. And so I'm hoping to do those in the future. And that's sort of why it's called the Exploring series. If I can be clever for a moment. The reason why it's called the Exploring series is because the whole thing is meant to be viewed as a series. That's not really how YouTube likes to operate, and that's not how most people are going to come across it. But it's meant to be viewed as you watch the first video, then you watch the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and so on. And that way I can continually build on topics, rather than having to try and stay completely basic with every video and start from scratch with every video. I don't have to explain what D-Class is every time. I don't have to explain what the O5 Council is every time. I don't have to explain what Sarcasm is every time, because you've already seen the whole video on Sarcasm, and so on and so forth. Now that doesn't usually work, because you get all these people that come in and they're like, what is this? Is this real? What is SCP? I don't know anything what's going on. And I don't hate these people. I'm glad they're here. You know, because that means my videos are being recommended to random people, and that's how you get new viewers. But that's just the problem with my format and the way I do things and the way YouTube is set up. But that's basically what I'm doing with Anderson Robotics, along with pretty much every other group of interest. Is I just want these baseline videos so that I can go in later and be like, let's do this whole video about this specific SCP that's strongly connected to this, but I don't have to spend 5 minutes explaining what the Church of the Broken God is, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back to Anderson Robotics, because there's some cool stuff in there. And I'm looking forward to coming back to the Fifth Church. Now, the Fifth Church I did a little bit differently, because I started with star signals instead of starting with my overall thing on the Fifth Church. So I switched up the format a little bit. I don't really have a good explanation for why. But what am I talking? Okay. I also worked on a video on Necrons in 40K. That should be going live on, oh, I don't know, Thursday. I don't know. I'm never happy with like any 40K video I put out because they always feel rushed. There is this sort of issue, I guess, with the way I'm operating now. It's very much like a business. I know I said before it wasn't, but it sort of is. I do this stuff. Like, I talk to you now, I do these Let's Plays and all that, and roll manging and blah blah blah. I do it because I enjoy it. It is my hobby. I gain practically nothing from it other than enjoyment. But the Exploring series now is very much my income. It is how I survive. I have no other skills. I have no other training or anything of any kind. This is my job. And that is not to say I don't enjoy it, but I don't always enjoy it. And that's the thing. If I'm not enjoying a Let's Play, as you well know, I will just stop it. I'll cut it short and blah, blah, we move on. Whatever, who cares? That's not really how... Or you know, if I don't want to record one night, if I'm just like, I want to sit here and watch a movie and eat Doritos, I can just do that. Like, whatever. It's not the end of the world. That's not really how it works, though, on the Exploring series. I can take a day off and whatever, but I have to make up for it. You know, I have to work every single week. I have to keep putting stuff out, or I'm Dunsky. You know, that's the end of it. It's bad news. That's the sort of continual pressure that creators are under, which is like first world problem. It's not that big of a problem. But what I'm saying is, you start to prioritize things differently. And you start to feel differently about doing certain things. So the SCP videos, I'm always pretty much happy to dive into, because I know they're all going to be big hits. I know that this is like the driving force on my channel. And I know that they're going to get, again, maybe not always, maybe now I'm questioning it a little bit, but I know that they're probably going to get over 100,000 views whenever I start working on one of these. So I have no problem sort of diving into it and getting into it. Warhammer 40K, on the other hand, though, is not really performing well in comparison. The creating a Space Marine video actually has been doing pretty well over the last couple weeks, surprisingly. I don't know why, but it is. But most of the time, it's not really blowing things out of the water. And so before, when I was just doing like when I was just doing like Norse mythology, and I was doing a few videos on that and stuff like that, it wasn't blowing up or anything like that. It was getting normal views. Like, my numbers weren't that different or anything like that. Life was going on. And I was doing one video a week, and it was just, okay, this is what I'm working on this week. It's a, you know, whether I was working on this or some random other video, it wouldn't really matter. They'd all get pretty much the same views, whatever. Now, you know, I'm trying to do like 2 videos a week or 1.5 videos a week. And the thought process is kind of like, well, I like Warhammer 40k. I do. I think it's pretty cool. But I'm literally cutting my income in half. Pretty much. By doing this Warhammer 40k video instead of doing a second SCP video for the week. I mean, if you think about your job, whatever job you might have, if you have a job, I mean, we're under the presumption you have a job, and you think about doing 2 tasks at your job that are pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Maybe one of them is harder, actually, a little bit harder. But the one that is easier pays you double. You would never really want to pick the one that is harder then. And that's sort of what it's like. You know, the work involved is very similar. I think Warhammer is harder just because there's so much more to it. When I'm covering and summarizing a single SCP, that's not a very difficult summarization job. Compared to summarizing all of, like, orc culture and history and shit like that. Like, that's a lot of work in comparison. And I get half views for doing all that. Oh, this piece of shit's still alive? Damn you. I might lose that chemist, but that chemist was shit anyways. Shit, I tell you. And so the thing is, like, even if I enjoy Warhammer 40k, I enjoy the topic, and blah, 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 there's just that nagging feeling that, like, I'm losing money, in a sense, while I'm working on this project. Not that it would be better off to do nothing, but I could be doing something far more lucrative. And so that's what I'm saying, is you start to get into this sort of monetary-based mode of thinking. Instead of just, oh, I do this because I love it. It doesn't matter what I'm working on. I don't care. I just like working. And so that's why when I first started doing 40k, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 2 videos a week. And I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week every week, and we're just going to crank them out. And now it's like I really have to force myself every other week to put out a 40k video, because it's just like, there are viewers that do want to see something other than SCP, and I got to keep it going. I got to do it. I got to do it. 2 videos a week is tricky. I probably should manage my time better. I've never had to learn how to do that, really, so Yeah, it's tricky. Anyways, I'm just bitching. Don't mean a thing. So I recorded the ad spot for ExpressVPN today. I shipped it off to them. They're going to give me some feedback tomorrow on it. I felt it was pretty professional. I don't think I said anything wrong. I'm sure they'll approve it. So it was literally like 15 or 20 minutes of work for a probably obscene amount of money to most people. For that amount of time. Not just an overall obscene amount of money. I'm saying relatively for that amount of time, it's a bunch of money. But that's where I'm at, you know? Once you reach a certain level of celebrity and you have enough people that follow what you say, that's how it works. It's wild, man. I cannot grasp it entirely. But, like, if you watch Linus Tech Tips, and, you know, like in his videos when he randomly throws out his sponsors, when he mentions a sponsor for the video, he's making bank on those sponsor things. I don't know what his CPM is for. He's making bank. Now, he's got like 28 employees or some nonsense, so I don't know how wealthy he specifically is. But, yeah, companies pay out for advertising. And advertising has always been such a weird thing to me, because it always seems like it can't be worth the money they spend. But then it's like, it must be worth the money they spend, otherwise they wouldn't keep advertising for decades and decades. You know, you think about how much money, like, Pepsi spends on advertising. And it feels like, who the fuck hasn't heard of Pepsi at this point? Why do they keep advertising? But it just must be something I don't understand specifically about, you know, the brain and information and, like, knowledge retention. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but it must work. It must be worth all the money these companies throw at advertising and marketing. And now I get to be part of that grand, cruel machine. No regrets. I don't know if I talked about it specifically. I don't know if I talked about this before specifically. I mean, this channel is not sponsored. I should be able to talk about whatever I want. And again, I didn't sign anything, so... Actually, I thought they were sending me a contract. What the hell? Oh, maybe not. Oh, you said here he's adding to an agreement when I send for signature. I don't know what that means. I have not signed anything. Oh yeah, here we go. We can send over your contract. I better get this contract before this video goes live. Probably once they approve the video, they'll send a contract. But anyway, that has nothing... Whatever. So in the document they sent me, which has like all the talking points and things like that, things that I should mention and things I have to mention and blah blah blah. One of the things that they have in the mandatory section, in big bold letters, they say, do not mention identity theft / ruining credit scores. That's it. Those are the only things that I should not mention. And I was a little confused, because I don't know exactly what they meant by identity theft / ruining credit scores. I don't know if... I don't know if they mean, like, it's not meant to protect you from people that will ruin your credit scores. But I was like, how can it be that? Because a big section of the thing that they sent me was talking about protecting your info. And talks about hackers stealing your data and opening bank accounts in your name. Like, they sent me this. And it's like, I feel like that's a pretty big benefit of getting a VPN. And they agree, because they say here, did you know that without a VPN, a hacker could steal your credit card info or passwords? You know, protect your online data from snoops and hackers, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's a big selling point. So it can't be that you shouldn't mention it because the VPN doesn't protect it. Because they basically told me to mention it. So then I was like, okay, well, are some people concerned that VPNs can ruin your credit score or steal your identity? Is that like a concern among some people? I've never heard people think that, but I guess I don't really know. And I don't know. I did not use the words identity theft or credit score or anything like that. I did not mention any of it, so I followed their rules. I just thought it was kind of weird. I think it was longer. I think my ad was longer than probably what they wanted because I talk so slow. I just have a slow way of delivery. So mine's like a minute and a half. But since it's at the end of the video, I don't really care. I used pretty much only footage that they provided. I didn't record any of my own. They said that was fine, so I think it'll be fine. I hope it does well, because if people actually do sign up through my thing and it does well, they're going to come back to me and let me do it again, and that's good. So, like I said, if you're thinking about a VPN, you can't really go wrong. You can help out both of us. It's all good. I'm going to sign up my parents through it, so... Anyways. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so the sponsorship is gonna go with the video that I'm working on this week, which is on SCP-2480, an unfinished ritual, which is gonna be sort of dark and horrific and perfect for a sponsorship. Yes. It couldn't be on, like, Beneficial SCPs 2 or you know, Here Be Dragons or something like that. No, it has to be on something pretty effed up. That's great. I don't think it matters too much. Yeah. That's kind of it, really. We didn't have role Mangg this week because people couldn't make it. So we played Overcooked instead, which was fun. A few of us did. And we didn't do it tonight because of some sports thing, so we should be starting Call of Cthulhu tomorrow. Starting it tomorrow. I think we're running... Ziggy's running some sort of Scottish adventure, from what I believe, I heard. And I think we're using pre-generated characters. So no sloopy. Some pre-generated investigator running around Scotland. Should be pretty interesting. And that will probably be the lead-in adventure to Tatters of the King campaign. So hopefully it all works out. I'm expecting some good times. I did have family D&D night. This sort of sprung up on me. I wasn't really expecting to do family D&D. But we did it. And so I was like, okay, I don't really want to prepare much. I don't want to deal with that much, like, teaching them something, so let's just do D&D 5e. They've played it a bunch of times. That was the last thing they played. They have characters for it. We can just run that. And I just found some random, like, third-party adventure. And it's like, okay, it's level 1, whatever. Okay, adventure, let's go. It was short. It seemed quick, blah, blah, blah. I did, however, introduce them to miniatures. Because I figured that would take up more time. And I was just like, whatever. They can play around with miniatures, and I'll give them a full D&D experience. And this adventure that I had picked turned out to be like 100% combat. It was like this dungeon where every single room and tunnel was just like a fight. So it was pure D&D. So it was basically, we had 3 hours of combat in D&D 5th edition at level 2, which is among the more boring things I can imagine. And so I was basically just, it's basically just DMing as a favor at that point, pretty much. Like, I get really no enjoyment from this, but they like it, they want to do it. And they ended up enjoying it. They were like, that was a really awesome D&D session. And I'm just thinking, like, you moved, like, pieces on a board and rolled a d20 over and over for 3 hours. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, afterwards, honestly, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, you know, I'd be fine if we just played, like, Arcadia Quest or something, you know, like a board game where I could play, and it's sort of similar. But they really like D&D for whatever reason. And so I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can DM D&D for these people. Because they don't read anything. That's really the big problem for me. The fact that they won't read anything, and they take no interest in, like, learning about their character and its abilities or anything. They basically treat it like a board game. And it's like, I can't imagine these people at, like, level 12 or level 10 or something, and they have all these different abilities and things they can do, where they struggle to, like, read what weapon they're using. You know, it's written on their character sheet, and they're like, what do I roll? You know, that was a big problem. Like, what do I roll? 3 hours into the session, we only did combat. They're still wondering what die to roll when they attack something. And so it's like, okay, we have basically 3 options, I feel, at this point. A, we just play a board game, and we just forget about this. B, someone else DMs, which would be a fucking spectacle, to be honest. Or 3, I run something using a far more simple system than anything we've used. And if I did do that, it would be Maze Rats. Maze Rats is an extremely simple RPG. Like, you have, like, 3 attributes. And that's pretty much it. Like, you have 4 health, 3 attributes, strength, dex, and will. The whole thing, every roll is just 2d6. That's really, you have, like, light weapons, heavy weapons, or ranged weapons. That's it. And then magic. Magic is actually pretty cool, although it is very simple. Magic, you completely randomly generate your spells every day, every in-game day, like when you wake up. And so they have, like, all these tables of different, like, elements and forms and effects. And so you just roll randomly on these tables. And so one morning you might wake up and it's like, okay, your spell for the day, you can use it once. You can use that spell once, and then it's gone forever. You roll randomly, and it might be like Serpent Cloud. That I just randomly picked those two. Serpent Cloud. And then the DM has to decide, okay, what does Serpent Cloud do? It's like, okay, well, when you cast Serpent Cloud, it will create a massive cloud of falling snakes. Or, you know, that's a probably basic, easy one. And they tell you that when you roll it. So then for the whole in-game day, you can be like, okay, I have this ability. Whenever I want, I can make a big-ass cloud of falling snakes. And it's like, there might be a situation where that comes up and that's useful. There might not be. And then you lose it because you re-roll the next day. And if you cast it once, you also lose it. It's gone. So it's very interesting magic system. It kind of feels like, though, for me, if I were to play as that, it would kind of be a situation of where when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You know, it's like, okay, if I know Serpent Cloud and I'm going to lose it by tomorrow morning, you better fucking believe I'm casting Serpent Cloud at some point today. So it allows for a huge range of spells, especially because it's open to DM interpretation on what they could actually do. You know, stasis bubble. Like, you know, does that put you in a stasis bubble? Does that put somebody else in a stasis bubble? Does that put everything in a stasis? Like, you know, just randomly picking stuff. Like, eye nexus. What does eye nexus do? I don't know. Oh, maybe not eye nexus, but like wood nexus. Or imprisoning dream. Or regenerating flesh. Well, that's probably pretty easy. Deceiving oil. What does deceiving oil do? I don't know. You might know. Somebody knows. So I like that sort of loose, very easy, but flexible system. And that's sort of what Maze Rats is. It's not difficult. I mean, it's not as robust as D&D with its books on books and rules for everything and all these options and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, this is a system that these people could probably handle. Probably. Maybe not, but probably. And they could get up to level 5. And really, there's not, like... There's not that many different rules or abilities. They might get more spell slots, or they might get better at attacking stuff. You know, whatever. So I don't know. There's another game by the same guy called Knave, which is a bit more robust and is basically designed as like a lightweight OSR system for running OSR adventures. That might be good as well, but OSR adventures tend to be really brutal, and these people are not very intelligent, so I'd probably just do Maze Rats and bump up their health and just be done with it. I don't know. Maybe someone else will want to DM, but who's to say, really? Yeah. I guess that's about it, really. I mean, I could talk to you guys about Hellboy. I went and saw Hellboy. I haven't really done a movie review on Hanging with Mangg in a while. I don't think I'm going to do one on Hellboy, though. My movie review is thumbs down. Thumbs down on Hellboy. I also recently saw Pet Sematary and Us. Pet Sematary was... I saw it in theaters, which I'm shocked that I got people to go with me, but it was very much just like a movie that I would put on for myself on like a Thursday night while I was playing Sekiro or something, and just be like, oh, that was cool. That was interesting. Alright. That's it. That's Pet Sematary. It doesn't do anything really like, holy shit, this is amazing. It's decent, but nothing really that special. John Lithgow was good in it, though. He was pretty good. Us, on the other hand, was different. When I first walked out of the theater of Us, I liked it. I had my problems with it, and I still have my problems with it. There are a lot of, like, logical inconsistencies with the plot and just the sort of the setting and the situation that he created for this movie that are just like, none of this makes sense. None of this would work. This just is stupid. This is stupid. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but basically, they explain too much in the movie. They go too far with plot points in the movie when they should have been left mysterious. They should have been left to the unknown. That was my problem with it. And that's a problem with a lot of horror movies. Usually that's a problem with horror movies sequels. But I guess since Jordan Peele doesn't do sequels, or whatever, he just put it all in this one movie. And I think he should have just left more things unknown, because it would have overall been a lot better. But what do I know? I'm not a famous horror director. But overall, when I walked out, I did enjoy it. As I spent more time sort of thinking about the movie, which, for the record, I did not do with Pet Sematary. But, you know, it's just the kind of movie that just gets in your head. As I spent more time thinking about it, I grew to like it even more. And I would really love to rewatch it now. Even though I only saw it like a few weeks ago or a month ago. It does a lot of things well. Like building up tension and the cinematography, the soundtrack, the acting. There's some really unnerving moments, and the performance by the lead woman, whose name I'm not sure on how to pronounce. Really good. There's some really good aspects of that film that set it apart and make it sort of stand apart from a lot of other horror movies, such as, well, Pet Sematary. And I really want to rewatch it. That doesn't fix any of the logical problems and things like that and the inconsistencies, but I can overlook those because he created a really unique movie. I guess my biggest problem with seeing Us was my audience, the audience in the theater. They laughed at basically everything. Like, everything. And I know that it's sort of a horror comedy. Not really. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say horror comedy. It was as comedic as Get Out was, I suppose. Meaning it has these moments of brevity and these sort of moments of ridiculousness where you can't help but laugh. Or smile, I guess. But on the whole, there are still a lot of horrifying moments. But the people in my audience were laughing at the horrifying moments. And it's like, this pisses me off to no end. I hate it. I hate it. Like, when your reaction to watching an on-screen child, like, brutally murder someone, when your reaction is laughter, there's something wrong. That should not be. I don't know. My whole audience was just filled with laughter from like start to end. It's like, this isn't a fucking comedy. I don't know. I like theaters. I enjoy the experience. I enjoy going to a bistro. And we go like not pretty much almost every week. Like, out of a year, we probably go like 30, 35 weeks out of the year. So we're big theater people. But I'd be perfectly fine if they developed some sort of system where I could just watch new movies in my home. And I think a lot of people would as well. So, I don't know. I don't know if that'll ever come about. I'm sure someday I don't know how much they'll charge, but I would pay it. Just to avoid people laughing at nonsense that doesn't need to be laughed at. Like, you know, the other week or whatever, Steven Spielberg was like crying about the sanctity of theaters and how we must preserve the magic of theaters, and it's like, okay, Steve, you know, you don't have to deal with this bullshit in your premium theaters or whatever you go to. So I don't know. Anyways, the point was, Us is a pretty good movie, and I want to see it again. And he better keep making movies. Now, I know he's working on The Twilight Zone. I've not seen any episodes of that. I will. The only thing I heard about it was like the first episode, or first 2 episodes was sort of a mixed bag. But I'll check it out. There was I think there was a new episode coming out like this week or something that the plot of it intrigued me, although I don't remember what it was at all. But it intrigued me. I'll start watching it. Oh yeah. It had this episode with like, it's like a boy. I don't know if he's a boy genius or I don't know what it is. But he like runs for president. I don't know, but it has John Cho in it, and I really like him as an actor. So I gotta check it out. I gotta check that out. Yeah, anyways, we're getting off into tangents, so I'll end it here for the Monday night hanging with Mangg. So, right, we've got the rest of Sekiro this week, Final Fantasy 15, either Days Gone or Metroid 2. Check out, well, you've already might have checked out the Anderson Robotics video. Check out the Necrons video coming later this week. And that'll be that. So, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. And I will see you fine folks next week.